All right, so we'll go ahead and get going for some morning equipped. Weight-wise, again, something that you can press up overhead, something about medium weight. You can certainly go heavier if you'd like, or if you got something a little bit lighter, just work to control that weight a little bit better. All right, so we're going to start down on the ground, getting nice and warmed up. All fours here. Start with a little thoracic mobility here. I'm going to take one hand and put that right behind the head. And we're going to reset elbow up underneath our other arm and open that up nice and wide. So we'll kind of go back and forth here, thinking about kind of your shoulder blades, loosening them or separating them. Get them nice and tight here. Slight rotation. You see it from the front. Reaching up underneath and opening that chest out wide. I'm going to go one more on this side. And then we'll switch to the other. Think about while we're in this quadruped position, the hands and knees, think about that core as well. Always in the back of our minds as we're getting warmed up, and certainly as we're going through our workout. Holding those abs in, nice and braced. You can go one more on this side as well. All right. We're going to stay down into all fours here. We're going to get a little bit deeper stretch through that shoulder specifically. We're going to take one arm, we're going to reach that all the way through. We're going to kind of put some weight down on that shoulder. So kind of think about your stretching out the back of your shoulder of that extended arm. So we're just going to kind of sit here for a few seconds. And we'll pull that back out. Switch to the other side. Actively reaching that down arm, continue lengthening. And go ahead and bring that out. Now we're going to reach both those hands forward. We're going to reach that chest towards our knees. Nice little child's pose. And just stretching out those lats. We're going to pull that up. We're going to come to a half kneeling position. So we will be working a little bit of split squats today. So we'll just make sure that legs are ready to go. So from this kneeling position, we're going to kind of shift that weight forward and drive up. So we're just going to get a nice easy 5 of these on each side. Nice and unweighted here to start, and then we'll add some weight. So what we want to think about when we're going through this kind of warm-up phase, when we come down to the knee, make sure that we're kind of completely offloading that front foot. Once you get your 5, we'll switch. So instead of like a lunge where we're just kind of tapping that knee, I want to make sure that we're kind of shifting that weight back to that knee. So we're getting a nice little relaxation of that front quad and then completely re-engaging on that step up. So again, nice little 5 to warm up with. And we'll relax. All right, so like I said, we're going to go for some split squats with our weight here. We're going to have 3 different positions that we're going to hold our kettlebell or dumbbell, whatever we may have. First one is a suitcase hold. We'll hold it towards the outside. All right, we'll drop up and down as so. We're going to do 5 right there. Then we're going to immediately transition to a front rack hold, in which we're going to do another 5. All right, and then we're going to press that up overhead for a nice little overhead hold for 5. Okay, we're just going to do 2 rounds here. The first round, we're going to do ipsilateral. Meaning whatever leg that we're working, that hand is going to hold the weight. Second time around, we'll do contralateral. It means across the body, opposite hand to the working leg. All right? So let's go ahead and get that up. Let's get to it. We'll have some conditioning after this as well, so don't use all of your strength. So whatever foot is in front, that same hand is going to hold on to that weight, starting that suitcase hold. And we're just going to do a nice, easy 5 split squats here. So big key on these split squats is to keep that weight focused in that front leg. Once you get your 5, you're going to pull that up to that front rack, 5 here. So just like we kind of warmed up with, want to make sure that weight stays in that front foot. Kind of re-engaging that weight, re-engaging that quad each time. Up overhead for our final 5. This one going nice and controlled here. Not just running through these reps of being very intentional. Alright, once we get our 5, we'll switch sides. If you want to, just like that warm up, we could come down to that kneeling position if you really want to get everything out of it. Just making sure that, again, that pace is in control. Make sure we're not slamming our knee down into the mat or into the ground. And we'll go up overhead for our last 5. Ooh, balance a little factor on the overhead. All right, take a quick break before we go to our second round. So when we fully extend up out of that split squat, I want to make sure that we do extend this leg. We don't necessarily need to lock this leg out. Could be a little hazardous for a knee there. So make sure that weight still stays shifted forward, and again, that leg comes to extension. So this would be a fully extended leg. This would be a leg that is locked out. So we want to avoid that. I do want just a teeny bit of softness in that front knee. All right, we're going to go around to round number 2. I don't know what leg I started with, but we'll do both of them. It'll be all right. So I'm going to put my left leg forward. Weight's going to hold onto that right, in that right hand. Same thing, we're just working across the body this time. So 5, 5, 5. Just mixing up those holds just to change some variety in the way that we're stimulating that muscle, or that group of muscles really. I do like this contralateral a little bit better, just for my personal taste. I feel I get a little bit more engagement, feel a bit more in control with these. Really keeping that weight pushed forward. Now one more this side. All right. And we'll flip that over. Another hand, another foot. Starting from the top. Again, be very intentional in the tempo that I'm moving through these. Making sure we're not getting too much of that weight on that back foot. We really want to be kind of 70-30 if possible, front foot to back foot. Oh, that balance on this side is quite a bit more difficult. And there's 5. All right. We'll shake that out. We're going to go towards our conditioning now. So we have 3 movements with a little bit of mobility in between each. So 3 movements
it's all gonna be single side. So we're gonna do a deadlift, hang clean, overhead press. Okay. So our deadlifts, kind of like we just worked on, favoring a single side, a little ipsilateral work. So weight's gonna start to the outside. Starting with that deadlift, it's gonna be out here. So we're working for 12 strong deadlifts. Then we have single arm hang cleans. So from that hang clean to that front rack. All right, certainly can be done with a dumbbell as well. Then we have 6 good overhead press. We can utilize those legs if necessary, or we can do a strict press. So we'll do 12, 9, 6 on the one side, 12, 9, 6 on the other side. Then at the end of each round will be once each side. We're gonna do a little deep squat mobility in which we're gonna sit down to a good deep squat. We're just gonna kind of play around at the bottom of this position for about 30 seconds. Just a way for us to kind of catch our breath a little bit and also just promote some healthy hips. Good chance to stretch out that back as well. All right. At the end of 30 seconds, we'll be back up to the top for round number 2. Goal here is going to be 4 rounds, but maybe another one, maybe one less. We will find out. So feel free to move at your own pace. I'm going to kind of go at a little bit more of a moderate pace, so we can kind of work on making sure everything looks good, feels good, and move with efficiency. All right. We'll go ahead and get after it. Pick a side, whichever side you like. I always recommend starting on your non-dominant side. We're going to go with those 12 deadlifts. Some of my reps may not be, or some of my rep counts may not be totally accurate. I am a little bit notorious for getting lost in my conversation and not counting reps super accurately. But that deadlift, typically we would get that all the way down to the ground each and every one. Hang cleans from that standing position, dropping down, pulling up. So we've got 9 right here. Do like to take a second to find that top posture, making sure that we're strong in that front rack before we go back down for our next rep. All right, once we get there's 9, we've got a nice 6 overheads. Getting that biceps, that ear on that overhead. Once you get those 6, we're switching to the other side. Now I'm very dark in my clothing choice today. Sorry about that. Can't really see what's going on with that black kettlebell as well. So we are on our dominant side now for our deadlifts. Another 12 is what we're looking at. So very tough on this side-loaded deadlift. Typically our single arms would be between our feet. But think about this just as another way to kind of modify a single leg deadlift. So 12 deadlifts, then we have our 9 hang cleans. Try to be nice and smooth on that catch. Try to keep the bottom of that kettlebell looking at the ground. One more, and then go inside overhead. Good strong punch, good strong core. 4, last 2. All right, then we'll drop that down. We're gonna sit into a good deep 30-second squat mobility. So I like to put my elbows on my knees, drive those out, get some mobility in the inside of that hip. You can rock around down there, or you can stay still. Just working to get that chest upright. Hold here for about 10 more seconds. Just a chance to breathe, get everything under control, and let's hop it back up. All right. I'm going to go around number 2, starting on that non-dominant side. 12, 9, 6. Let's see it. So hopefully that deep squat mobility as we go a couple rounds start to really help on that deadlift. You can already tell this second round certainly feels a little bit more loose. So keeping that hinge on that deadlift rather than that squat. We've got our 9 cleans. Taking that breath at the top of each rep. And our 6 overhead. Just looking to find a rhythm, something we can kind of work to keep that kind of going. And 6. Switching to the other side. Notice on these deadlifts and these cleans, you keep my other arm nice and tucked in. You can certainly keep that arm out for balance if you need it. But that's just to help kind of remind me, keep everything nice and tight. I'm taking a very narrow stance on those deadlifts just to make sure we can keep those legs underneath our hips, not get too wide, able to keep those shoulders over those hips as well. Last one here. And we're going to go for those cleans, 9 cleans. Start feeling that grip going a little bit. Hang on to that kettlebell for all those reps between those deadlifts and those cleans. 2 more. And go for our 6 overhead. All right, 2 rounds down, we'll hit that deep squat, 30-second hold. We're right on target here to finish our 4 rounds. So we've got about 6 minutes down, 6 minutes to go. I'll try to get 2 more in there. See if I get that grip strength to hold up a little bit. Deep squat, I don't know about you, but certainly feels a lot better this second time getting into it. A lot more freedom going on over here. We can rock that around. Still get what we can out of it. Last 2, 1, and let's bring it up. All right, let's go for it. Round number 3 on these deadlifts. Remember, keep that chest up, keep that core nice and tight, keep that hinge. All right, try not to fold. Reach those hips back and grab that weight. If mobility is still a bit of an issue, certainly we don't necessarily have to go all the way down to the ground, especially with dumbbells. That's going to be a big reach. So we just get as far as we can, able to keep that back nice and flat. 2 more. I seem to always go a lot faster than my cleans. So keeping that core tight as we clean, driving with those hips still. As we get a little bit deeper into this, certainly going to rely on those hips a little bit more on those cleans. 6 overhead. And switching sides. How are you feeling? Doing good? Let's see it. Another way, if you are looking to work on your grip strength, we can always modify our grip on that kettlebell to a loose, we call a false grip without any thumb, or start taking some fingers away, do a 3 grip hold, or a 2 grip hold even. Good way to work on some grip strength. Also some finger strength if you're into rock climbing. Got 2 more here. And we'll go to our cleans. And I'm working to get a little bit more hip drive in there as we clean. Notice I'm working to keep that kettlebell very close, right? We're not swinging it out and pulling it in. But think about like we're zipping up a zipper. So it's very close to that midline. Last one. And overhead. All right. Bring that down. That was the right side, right? So 3rd deep squat hold. And we'll go to our final round after this. Last little bit of mobility work down here. Think about those ankles as well. Rock front to back, side to side. Do want to certainly keep those heels down as much as possible. But we need to kind of play around down there, see where the ends of our range of motion is. Let's go ahead and bring it up. One final round, all right? 12, 9, 6, a piece each side. We got just about 2 minutes to do it. So let's get that kettlebell moving and let's make it happen. Still sitting back on those deadlifts. We're trying to get our non-dominant side done in 60 seconds. So we have another 60 seconds for our dominant. 12, going to 9 on those cleans. So keeping it close. Hips going, and 6 overhead. All right, we'll drop down, we'll flip it over one more time on the dominant side. Let's get after it. 12 total deadlifts. Still keep that hinge. All right, hips go back. And our cleans. Last round of cleans for the day. Notice I'm keeping that weight over the middle of my foot, right? We're not rocking too far backwards or on our heels or on our toes, right? Rather keeping it nice and tight. Got 2 more. And our last 10 seconds to get our overhead press. And number 6. All right. Whew. Another forearm burn, more than I expected. That's going to do it for some AM Equipped. Thanks for joining.